great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of invasion.
Well, welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. I'm an immigration attorney practicing law throughout the United States, out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. How's everybody doing? It's good to be with you. It's been a minute. I was down in Dallas for a couple of days. I did one show from down there, but I have not had a ton of shows this week. So we'll be back at it next week when I get back to St. Louis. I see a lot of our friends are here. Let's say hello to them. Roy was here early. Hello, Roy in Schenectady. Erica is here. Christine is sending blessings. Lindy is here, as she so often is. Anand's wondering where the link is. And we had a special friend who shared the link with us earlier. Huli was here. She was helping me out, so I appreciate that. That was good to see her. Shauna is here. I will share the link once more. Let me see. Here's the link. We got Julian from London is here. Natalie's wishing TGIF wishes to everybody, so that's very nice. Joanna is saying hello from St. Kitts, as she so often does. Saya is here. Hello, Saya. Big ups for all the Yardies, especially Donna down in Jamaica. Julian says today was an exhausting day. That's no fun. Sunitha's here. Happy Friday. Traylene, hello. Look at this. Traylene says, good afternoon, Jim and the immigration crew. My husband was approved for his spouse visa today. Well, how about that? That's great news, Traylene. I'm very happy. When's he going to get his butt over here? I'd say sooner rather than later. Get on that plane, brother. Roberto says, what's up, Jimbo? Nellie says, hi, Jim. I think your firm is amazing. Well, thank you, Nellie. I appreciate that. Robert is asking if I've heard anything on my San Bernardino case yet. San Bernardino. No, I've not heard on my San Bernardino case yet. Nope. Francisca is here. Glenn is here. Cameron, Emifetalu, Ryan, Daisy. JJ's here. Hindir is here. I'm good. Thanks for asking. Ugadal is here. Natalie. Camille. Erica goes, I don't understand where to go to ask a question. It says the studio is full. Yeah, the studio fills up really early. So the main thing is you have to get on our text line. So if you text the word show to 314-470-3300, you'll get an alert before, like we sent out the alert at 10:30 this morning. So that's why the alert got full, or the waiting room got full. So you have to text the word show to 314-470-3300. That's the best way. That's how the pros get in early. All right. And then Glenn says, you must have had some big thunderstorms. Oh my gosh, did we? We barely got into Dallas on Sunday night. And then the fellas were all from Utah mostly. And so they were freaked out when we got a tornado alarm, and they woke me up to make sure that I was awake. You know, in St. Louis, we get tornado warnings all the time. Robert says he almost called in sick because it's Friday the 13th. I love Friday the 13th. I was born on Sunday the 13th, so I'm always very happy. Tony, no, Julia. She was just in for a minute helping out. Am I going to a protest tomorrow? Probably not. I'll be traveling back to St. Louis tomorrow, so I won't be going to a protest tomorrow. Otherwise, I would be for sure. That was from Julian. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go to A, and then Paul, and then JM. Hey, hello.
Can you hear me? Good. How are you? Can you hear me?
A?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you for doing the show today. So I've been watching your I751 related videos, and my question basically is, so like in the videos you mention you file N400 after 1 year anniversary of filing an I-751. So I'm just wondering, can that N400 be filed anytime within the 90-day window of the 3 years of the date printed on the green card, or does it necessarily have to be 1 year after 751 has been filed?
No, there's no rule like that. They're both treated independently. So you can file the 751 any day in the 90-day window, and the N400 could be before or less. That's a good question. No one's ever asked me that.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. And so the other thing is, you've mentioned quite a bit about doing a FOIA request for the A file. And so the
Yep.
question basically is like, should everyone do it? Or like, what are the benefits of a FOIA request?
I think there's no downside to doing it. You never know what you're going to find in there. And yeah, I would say everyone should do it.
Got it. That's good to know. And I'm just wondering, so you are based on the East Coast, I believe, right? And I'm on the West. So I'm just wondering, do you attend USCIS interviews with your clients who are based on the East Coast mostly, or could you travel to, let's say, Arizona, for example?
That's such a great question. So we actually have offices in San Diego, St. Louis, Chicago, and DC. So we're all over. I don't do that many interviews myself anymore, but our attorneys go all over. But I'm actually glad you asked this question, because we have seen a spike the last 2 weeks of people who've filed on their own, and then they want us to attend their interview. And everybody's getting interviewed now. It's really, really nuts how many interviews we're getting. And so we have to prioritize the people who hired us from the beginning. So I think the days of us taking over cases, or the days of us attending interviews on cases we didn't file, are probably coming to an end just because of a capacity issue. But we are going to start prioritizing, and we always prioritize the people that hired us from the get-go.
I see. So so what I'm hearing is, if somebody filed a case on their own and then they hire your firm after filing, then you would not be prioritizing those
Right.
cases going forward. But
unless we have capacity, right?
Got it. And so if, let's say, when the time comes to file N400, and if somebody hires you before filing N400, you would definitely take that case, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And hey, everybody, I'm glad you brought this up. Hey, there's one other thing I want to say. You guys might not believe this. We filed an N400 the other day, and we received an interview notice 2 weeks later. I don't know what the hell is going on, but we received an N400 interview notice 2 weeks after we filed, like 14 days after we filed the N400. So you guys got to be ready.
Right. And so just curious, how much do you charge for N400 if somebody hired your firm for helping with N400 application?
$4,000.
Got it. And you accept credit cards for that?
Oh yeah, and we do payment plan. Yeah, so most people pay like half up front.
Yeah.
And then pay like $400 or $500 a month until it's paid off.
Got it. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Those
Awesome.
were some of the questions. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, have a great day, buddy. Have a
You
good
too.
weekend.
Thank you.
See ya. Yep. All right, let's get that banner off. There we go. We'll say goodbye to A, so someone can get in the waiting room. Paul is here. Hello, Paul.
Hello. Hope you're doing all right.
How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Have you recovered from our talk on Saturday?
Yeah, basically.
Good. What's up?
Mulled over it quite a while, and then let my wife listen to it, and she got to get upset for her part, and we talked everything over. We are actually deciding that we're gonna ride the lightning and go ahead and put the applications in. I did sort of a typical situation. I feel like after the fact, thought of several things I should have mentioned or asked, and the main one of those was that we also have 2 kids who are 6 and 3, and they've both been born abroad. We have consular reports of birth abroad for them, and they're U.S. citizens. I don't know that significantly changes the facts of our case, but that seemed like a pertinent thing that I should clearly have brought up.
Not about what we talked about. That doesn't change much.
Yeah. Okay. And then Another thing was I thought, and okay, preface this by saying I realize ignorance is no excuse for doing things wrong. But I guess I felt like I wanted to sort of explain why we approached this thing the way we did. And was basically, I was trying to research how we were supposed to do this from Finland, and was under the impression that, okay, we can file the I-130, and then later, when we're in the United States, we can do a thing called adjustment of status. I basically had no idea what that entailed. And then I was also under the impression, based on some past experience that I had in like 87, where my then girlfriend came over on, and I don't know if there was visa waiver at the time or what, but she was over for like a 3 month or something, and then was able to just ask for an extension of that to stay longer as a visitor. And so that was actually our plan. Now was come here on the visa waiver and then ask for an extension to that, and then and then figure out what this adjustment of status and all that is. Yeah, and that was our intent. And then it only was once we got here and I started basically asking ChatGPT for, how do I apply to extend my visa waiver program or whatever. And it's telling me, oh, you don't do that.
Right. That's right.
And then came upon the information about doing the adjustment of status and a 60-day rule and all this. But that's basically the reasoning for why we're at this point. And then I had one clear question still. If we
just real quick.
Sorry, go ahead.
For that section, the part, why did you just bring that up? That's not things you're going to tell USCIS, is it? Like if you go in there and tell them that story, it's the same thing as when you went in and told them. I mean, I think the idea of applying for adjustment of status is extremely risky, and I would encourage you not to do that. Okay. I think going in there and being honest. I mean, again, I told you that this might work because your wife is from Scandinavia, not from Nigeria. But right. absent that, and I would never file an application rolling those particular dice, especially right now. I think I don't know why. I mean, you've made a mess of it so far. I don't know why you think things are going to get better.
Yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing to answer to that.
Yeah, I mean, so let's play it out. So let's say that you guys go to the interview. I mean, let's say you go to the interview and you say something akin to, well, we didn't really realize that we weren't supposed to sell everything, close up shop in, is it Finland? It's Finland, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In Finland, and come here and adjust status. Like I looked on the internet before we came and it said that we could file an I-130, and then the thought was we would adjust here. And when what did you say when you went through customs? Oh, we told them that was our plan. And he said, well, you're not supposed to tell me that. So you get points for telling the officer if they believe you, which I don't know that they'll believe you, but they might believe you. But if this goes sideways, this is what happens next.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to file for a waiver. You're going to have to show that you, the U.S. citizen, would suffer exceptional hardship if your wife is not allowed to live in the United States with you and your 2 kids. Right? And so I think you're dead in the water on that because you've been living for a very long time in Finland with her. So they're going to say, yeah, that's not much hardship. So again, I know this is not what your plans are, but to me, like I said the other day, this is the consequences of getting bad legal advice before you went down this road, and it's going to be much safer I know that you guys are experiencing the short-term benefit of being together in the United
Yeah.
States, while hopefully going through the adjustment of status process. But, you know, as the immigration lawyer, my job is to advocate for the case. Like, you're not my client. No, you're not my client at all. But even if you were my client, what I view my client is winning the case and getting the person the benefit. And I know it'd be short-term uncomfortable to make her go back and do it the right way. But I think the chances of success are about 20%.
Okay. I mean, part of the discussion we had was basically, yeah, if it was just the two of us, she would, no problem. She would head back.
Yeah.
But as it is, if she goes back, she will take the kids, and if she goes back with the kids, I will also go back.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Our situation. I mean, okay. Yeah. Well, sure. I'll add this in here. We were unhappy in the location where we were in Finland. We'd lived there like 4 or 5 years, and we were planning to move in any case either to a different area of Finland where we have lots of friends and relatives, or come here. So we have sold our house and much of our furnishings, but we still have some stuff in storage there. Plan on definitely going back at some point. This was originally planned as a move of a few years, but again, I feel like that's probably neither here nor there, and doesn't really matter.
Somebody said in the comments, the more you talk, the more things get worse. That isn't good either. A plan of a move of a few years, that's not good either.
Yeah.
Because the purpose of coming on visa waiver is to come to the United States, look around, have a nice time, and leave after 90 days.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of entry on visa waiver.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my specific question. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I got to get going on other people. Did you have another question?
Yes. Sure. Yeah. If we put my mother as a co-sponsor for if she fills out an 864 affidavit of support,
you both.
yeah, is she going to be called in to an interview?
No.
Okay. That'd just be my wife and the petitioner, myself.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Bye, Paul. See you, buddy.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go to JM, then George's if he turns off his camera, then Rosio. Rosio's here. What the heck? JM, hello.
Hi. Good day, sir.
Good day to you, JM. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How about you?
Great.
God, I've missed you over the weekend,
Well, here I am. Let's do it.
Thank you for having me. I have a quick question. So I am going through the adjustment process with my wife. I am the beneficiary.
Okay.
We do have an upcoming interview in the next 4 weeks in Buffalo, New York. And
okay.
On my application, I had a minor case in England. That was about 4 years ago, where I got arrested, but I didn't go to court. It was just like a investigation, and then the case was eventually dropped. And then that was it. But on my application, I did say I was arrested. I didn't go to court. The case was like dismissed and everything. Do you think it's going to be an issue going to the interview?
Well, you left out the most important thing.
Which is?
What was the investigation for?
Oh, so it was a friend's party. It was during COVID. We went for it was a party. One of the ladies complained, well, reported that she was raped in a taxi. So obviously all of us were arrested and then
Wait,
got
what
questioned.
happened? You were at a party and what happened?
And then the lady, one of the girls said she got raped.
Raped
Yeah.
at the party?
No, in a taxi. I don't know how that happened, but yeah. So we got arrested, and then they questioned us, obviously, and then it led to nowhere. So the case was dropped. The case was dismissed.
So you're at a party with some friends.
Yeah.
And the cab was somebody coming to the party or what?
No, the cab. I was in a cab with the girl going home from the wedding. Sorry, the party.
So the only people besides the driver in the cab were you and
her.
Okay, because you said we got arrested, but you mean I got arrested.
Well, so first she said it was at a party, and then now she said it was in a taxi going home. So everybody involved at the party got arrested, including me.
Got arrested or got brought in for questioning?
Oh, well, because I got arrested, they put cuffs on. They come to my house one morning, and then they put cuffs on my hands, and then they took me in for questioning, and they let me go afterward.
After the questioning?
Yeah, after the questioning, yeah.
And there were no charges brought?
No, there were no charges. I have
against anybody?
No, against anybody, no. No, it was the document that I got was it says insufficient evidence. I did a police report from England, and then it came out clean. Everything the trace says no trace, and I got other documentation that like gives you like a thorough investigation of what they did, and everything pretty much came clean.
Did you get questioned?
Yeah, I got questioned. Yeah.
What year did this happen?
That was 2021.
And when did your relationship with your current spouse begin?
Oh, it started 2023.
So long after this whole incident.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And then what documentation do you have, or what, I guess two questions. What documentation have you submitted to USCIS about this, and what documentation do you have about this?
I do have the police report, like police clearance, something like that I applied to see my background check, and it came clean. And then also I requested a copy of the investigation, how it went and everything, and then they sent me. And pretty much it tells me the detail of the arrest. That's it.
Is it certified?
No, not yet. But it came from the British police database.
So it's just like a printout of the of the police records.
Yes, yeah.
And you haven't submitted that yet, but you're going to bring what you have to the interview.
Oh, actually, I did submit it with the documents and everything initially. So
Did you put an explanation of?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I explained at the back of the 485.
Does your spouse know everything about this?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a topic. I mean, you're talking about rape. That's something that they're definitely going to want to talk about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you had any other charges anywhere?
No, that was the first time I ever got arrested.
Okay. Okay. So what question do you have for me?
So I was just asking, is it going to be an issue? And do I need to bring a lawyer or something?
Well, sure, you should bring a lawyer. But yeah, I think it's going to be a topic of conversation.
Yeah, I'm open to talk about it because to me, I didn't do anything to anybody. So, and I came clean anyway. So I'm open to talk about it.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, I think most people should have an attorney, but if I had a rape charge on me at some point or a rape investigation, I would want to bring an attorney to my interview for sure.
Gotcha. How much will it cost to hire your firm?
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. So we are swamped right now. So we have tons of interviews in June and July, and specifically, we are just having to prioritize the people who hired us from the beginning.
Yeah.
If we have bandwidth, maybe in August or September, we'll be able to take some. But for now, we've got to prioritize the people that that hired us from the get-go. So I think you should bring a lawyer. There's a lawyer that I know up in Buffalo named Matthew Kolken, Kolken.
Yeah.
I would recommend him. He's very aggressive.
Okay. Can I get in touch with him?
Yeah, just call him up. Or just call his office, Kolken.
Kolken.
Okay.
Okay.
Ken.
Yeah.
Kolken.
So I just search his name and that's it?
Yeah, you'll find him.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Jam. Good luck, buddy. Let us know how it goes, okay?
All right.
Yeah.
I will. Definitely.
Hey. Rosio's here. Hello.
Hey, Jim.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So I have like few questions for you.
Go for it.
If you applied for EAD before, and then the place of birth, you put your city, but on your birth certificate, the place of birth is the county. What are you going to put on the I-485?
City.
But if it's not on the birth certificate or anywhere.
City.
Okay.
I would put the city and then I would put the county. I would put like city dash county and then the name of the county.
Okay. And then if your passport has the eye color as black, but your eyes are actually brown,
Oh, I'd just go with
your
your passport.
driver's license is brown.
Yeah, either way, no one cares.
And if you don't remember the dates of employment, what can you put?
Got to do your best.
I guess that's it.
All right. Have a good day, Rosio. Good luck.
Thank you.
I thought that was our old friend Rosio. It's a new Rosio. So welcome to the show, new Rosio. Old Rosio got her citizenship, and now she's busy. But we do welcome all Rosios. Julian is right. All right. Let's go to we're going to go to I-130, then MF, then NC, then Dave. I-130, hello.
Hi, Jim.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure.
I recently discovered your channel and I have been listening to your listening to your show every single day.
Awesome.
And thank you for what you're doing for the community.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. What can I help you with?
I have a question about my husband. So he came here in 2007 on F1 visa and applied to asylum in 2008 while he was still in status. And he never had an interview because his original lawyer messed up. And then he was referred to the immigration court and because they missed the interview. He then has been in the removal proceeding and it was originally administratively closed since 2016. And so then a little bit background about our marriage. We have been together since 2011 and we got married in 2013. So, and we have 2 kids. I got my own green card through employment and I recently naturalized this year.
Congratulations.
And thank you so much. We filed 130 where I was still a permanent resident and upgraded after I naturalized. And our attorney submitted a motion to reopen and terminate the removal proceeding after I naturalized. And I checked the EOIR website. We now have a master hearing in July of this year. So then my question is, if our 130 is still pending at the time of the master hearing, will filing the 485 before the hearing increase the chance of the judge to terminate the removal proceeding for us?
Well, I have a couple questions. One is, I missed how your husband first ended up in removal. Was it because he stopped going to school, or was it because he applied for asylum and didn't get it granted?
He applied for asylum. He actually never had an interview because his original lawyer he messed up. He said because of his own medical issue that he cannot go to the interview together with him. So he sent in a notice, not a request to reschedule the interview. But then who knows if he did it or not. But then my husband, he missed the interview, the original asylum interview. That's how he was referred to the immigration court.
That lawyer who had the health issue, that's not still his lawyer, is it?
No, we fired him. We hired another one who handled my green card case.
Okay, good. And so did the lawyer who messed up, did they admit that it was their fault?
We have some documentation that he sent in the emails requesting to reschedule the interview, but the question is, I don't know if it's delivered.
Yeah. Do you have any sense how long before the interview actually happened that he sent in the request?
I'm not quite sure about that. I need to
Okay.
check the original documentation.
Okay. Well, let me first say that I think that lawyer really screwed over your husband, right?
Yes.
So that's a big issue that should be explored. I think you've probably incurred legal fees that he should actually pay for. I think that if I were your lawyer, I would at least be exploring the possibility of filing what's called a Lozada claim. Do you know what that is?
No.
Lozada is the name of a case. Lozada claim is when you want to argue that it was a lawyer's mistake that made you miss your asylum interview, or your husband, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I would do that not so much because I want to get the attorney into trouble, but I would do it because it makes him more sympathetic, your husband more sympathetic for the ask of termination. Does that make sense?
Yes. I'm sorry, but how to spell that? The Lozada?
Yeah. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
Lozada. It's really sort of an unfortunate rule. There's a rule that if you want to claim that your lawyer messed up your case, you actually have to file a bar complaint against them.
Okay.
And you have to give them the chance to respond. But I mean, if your client has an asylum case and an interview, and you send some emails, and as far as you know, those emails are, as far as you can prove, those emails were never opened or replied to, then at the very least, you have to send your client to the interview and say, hey, my attorney's in the hospital. He had a heart attack or something, whatever it is, to try to get it rescheduled. You can't just close your eyes and say, oh, I mean, this is true for lawyers and non-lawyers. If you have an interview, you can't just send in an email and say, oh, I sent in an email, so therefore I'm off the hook, right?
Yeah.
So in answer to the questions of where you're headed, how long has your I-130 been, and I know that you filed it originally as a green card, but as we sit here right now, how long has your I-130 been pending?
Since September of 2023.
Okay. So what if you had a green card interview or an I-130 interview, what field office would conduct that interview?
Santa Ana.
California?
Yes.
Santa Ana, California?
Yes.
Okay, so I know July is only like 6 weeks away. But I would give thought to suing USCIS to try to get them to approve the I-130 so that you have that in hand when you have your court date. Now, I've been hearing that a lot of court dates in July are getting postponed anyway. But it's your and your attorney's plan to adjust at you'd rather adjust at USCIS, not in court, I assume, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I would think you're going to be a whole lot better off. You and your lawyer are going to be a whole lot better off if you sue to get a decision on the I-130. And I'll just throw out this. If your lawyer, talk to your lawyer about Lozada, if they think there'd be any value. I mean, your lawyer probably knows the judge and probably knows the courts where you are. But having that I-130 in hand approved, I mean, usually it takes like 8 weeks to get an I-130 approved after we sue them. And you're sort of, you're not 8 weeks away, you're like six weeks away or 5 weeks away. But I think if your lawyer tells the judge, look, this guy only ended up in removal because his lawyer was a dumbass and didn't protect him on his asylum case. That's the only reason that he's here. He's never violated his status. He's married to a U.S. citizen. Our plan is to file for termination. We have an I-130 pending. We've sued USCIS to try to get a fast decision on it. At the very least, the judge is going to postpone it a little while and give you some more time. But maybe the government attorney will just agree to it. I don't think in Trump land that's likely, but it's a possibility.
So,
in other words, I want you to show that you're doing everything humanly possible to get your I-130 approved and to protect your husband.
okay. So even if we don't get a decision on I-130 before the hearing date, if we sue the USCIS, that will still be helpful?
I think it makes you more sympathetic, and it's going to get you a faster I-130. And there's an outside chance that it does work that quickly if we sued them like Monday.
I see. That's very helpful. I will reach out to my lawyer and talk about that. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
so if you need help with the lawsuit, just let me know because we do those all the time. Let me ask you one other question. Just real quick, so I make sure you talk to your lawyer about this one, okay? When you filed your I-130 petition and submitted all your marital evidence, your husband was already in removal proceedings, right?
Yes.
So I just want to make sure that you understand that when someone's in removal proceedings and they marry a U.S. citizen, the government thinks that they only got married to get out of deportation. So you're held to a higher standard. You have to prove by clear and convincing evidence that your marriage is real, and you have to ask for what's called the good faith marriage exemption. And I just want to make sure your lawyer did that. It sounds like you've got a good lawyer now and they know what they're doing. I just wanted to make sure that somewhere along the lines, you or they, either at your interview or earlier when you filed, that they did that. Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know about that? Do you know if they did?
I'm not quite sure. When he filed I-130, he only asked us for the birth certificate and marriage certificate and some other stuff, not very sufficient documents.
And as of now, you still haven't submitted that? You haven't submitted
I-1. Sorry, say that again.
Sure. As we sit here right now, you're saying that you guys submitted sort of the bare minimum at the time of filing. Yeah. Have you developed more evidence or uploaded more evidence? I mean, that might be why they're probably sitting on your case because you filed as a green card holder. Your husband was in removal. They don't know that you became a citizen, even though you told them, and you submitted a little bit of marriage evidence. So if I was your lawyer, I would gather a bunch more marriage evidence. I would sue them on the I-130. I would tell the judge this is what we're doing, and then go from there.
Okay. I actually checked the status of my case, and they told me that it's successfully upgraded to the spouse of U.S. citizen.
But sometimes it still doesn't work.
I see.
And I just want to make sure you understand what I'm saying about the higher standard, that you've got to show more than regular people that this marriage is real. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand. It is definitely real.
The idea that your lawyer only submitted the bare minimum, that makes me a little nervous.
I see. I have another question because I
Sure.
was told by the online chat that our I-130 is in line for an interview,
Yeah.
and with everything going on right now, is it possible that my husband gets detained in the interview?
No, I think that's unlikely because he's already in removal. He's married to a U.S. citizen. I think that's unlikely.
Okay, that's good to hear.
You
Thank you
okay?
so
Are you
much.
sad?
Yeah.
Don't be sad. Don't be sad. This is all. This is. I mean, sometimes a lot of people that I talk to don't have any path at all, but you do, and he does. So I wouldn't be worried. I think that overall, it sounds like your lawyer's doing an okay job, but you need more. You need more because you need to prove the marriage at a higher level. You need to explain why you got into removal in the first place, and you need to get a lot done before July.
Okay.
All right?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Hang in there. Don't be sad. Just keep working.
Thank you.
All right, hang in there. Sorry. Oh, I don't like it when people are sad. I thought we had a really good talk. I thought that was a great call. Lots of good insights, and she's on top of it, and clearly we know she cares for her husband. MF, hello. MF, are you there? I got MF, then NC, then K1. MF, are you
Yes.
there? Go ahead.
Yes. Hi, Jim.
Hello.
Yes. I have a brother who got married to a permanent resident holder, and he is an F1 active, but he messed up by walking outside campus for some time. So I don't know how the situation is gonna be.
So when did he enter?
In January 2023.
And on a student visa?
Yes, but now he's done with his master's and he's going in for PhD in
Okay. And
August.
what's the problem?
Yeah, he worked outside campus for some time.
Why?
He was finding issues with paying his tuition fee for his first program, that is master's, before he got the scholarship. So there is no other alternative than he worked outside the school to gather some money to pay for his tuition fee.
Okay, so when he's done, you said he's finished with his master's. Did he do OPT or is he going to do OPT?
No, he got admission and funding for PhD. So he said he prefer to go in for PhD. So he also want to apply for his green card by the wife, but the wife is a permanent resident.
Okay, how long has the wife had her permanent residence?
It's about 5 to 6 years. 6 years, let's say 6 years now. 6 to 7 years.
The wife has had her green card for 7 years?
Yes.
Why hasn't she applied for citizenship?
He said he have told her to apply, but still now she's not willing to apply. So I don't know.
Well, first of all, nobody tells someone else to apply for citizenship. So what I think you meant to say is he asked her nicely if she would apply for citizenship, is what you meant to say, right?
Yes.
And what I'm here to say, if she was on the call, is, lady, do you want your husband to stay in the United States? And I would hope she'd say yes. If she said yes, I'd say, get your citizenship yesterday. What are you messing around for? Because the thing is, he can't get, if he leaves the United States or fills out another visa application or does anything immigration-wise, and he either admits or doesn't admit that he worked off campus without permission, he's in big trouble, right? So if he admits it, he can't, and he has to admit it, he can't get a green card based on employment. The only way he can fix this fact that he worked off campus is if he marries a U.S. citizen and it's a real marriage, not a green card holder, only a U.S. citizen. So she is actually hurting his chances to stay in the United States long term by refusing to get her citizenship. So I wouldn't just ask nicely. I would beg, if it's a real marriage, they're married, why not get her citizenship and then they're good to go?
Okay, I will relate it to him.
Yeah, just show him this clip and show his wife, say, Mrs. MF's brother, he needs you to get your citizenship because that's gonna. I mean, but most importantly, what I want to make sure, MF, is that he doesn't make any misrepresentations on any paperwork moving forward. Like if his visa expired and he went back home and he filled out another DS-160 and it said, "Did you ever violate the terms of your visa or work without permission?" and he put no, then he's screwed.
Okay, thank you.
Bye, brother. All right, I'm gonna go to NC, then K1, then Dan. NC, hello.
Hi, Jim.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I've been trying to get to you for the longest while. I'm so happy you chose me today.
Awesome. How you doing?
I am okay, but I have a problem, and I'm hoping you can assist. So, I got a letter in the mail, and when I saw the letter, it said child services, right?
Okay.
It was actually for my husband, but I was curious because we have a child together. So I got curious, opened the mail, only to read that he's being sued for child support.
For some kid you didn't know
For a child I had no idea about, Jim.
Come on, are you serious? Is he the US citizen or are you going through the
He is a U.S. citizen, and I have submitted my paperwork about 3 months now.
3 months ago?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So did you confront him?
I didn't. I was so shocked. I was in total disbelief, and I just basically closed it back and told him that some stuff came in the mail, and yeah, he just looked at it. He didn't open it in front of me, and I think he said when he checked it, it wasn't his, and he returned it in the mail. Yeah.
But was it does he have an unusual name or you don't have to say it, but does he have an unusual name or a common name?
A very unusual name, Jim.
Yeah. And
so I know it's definitely his because I opened it and I look at all the details on the documents.
Okay, so let's focus on you for a little bit, and then we'll come back to that, okay?
Okay.
Tell me your immigration journey.
So we have been together for about 9 years. We have an 8-year-old together. But I didn't decide to come here because I had a tourist visa. So we were just going back and forth until he proposed 2 years ago, and we got married. And after we got married, I went home for a little bit. Then I came back and then I filed the documents.
And so when did you file?
3 months ago.
Oh, geez. So right now you don't have anything.
The only thing I got was the work authorization.
And so the letter from Child Services was made out to this unusual name of your husband.
Right.
At your address.
At my address.
Did it list or identify the kid?
It did.
And did it say how old the kid was or no?
Well, it didn't specifically state it, but the date of birth was there, so I calculated it. The child is 3 years old.
Holy cow. So you and your husband have a kid that's 5 years older than this kid.
Right.
And as far as you were concerned, you were in this relationship long before and during the time that he fathered this other kid.
Right.
And of course, this child is not listed on the I-130 application that your spouse filed, in which he lists his children.
Right. The only child on there is just the child that we have together.
How are you feeling? How are your emotions?
In all honesty, Jim, it's like I'm just numb. Right? Numb is the feeling.
Yeah.
I'm just totally numb.
I'm super sorry that this happened.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Is your mom still alive?
She is.
Did you talk to her about it?
Yes, I did.
What did she say?
We're just floored. We're just completely shocked. Because we've been in this relationship for a long while, and going back and forth, and him always wanting me to come here. Now, like leaving everything back home and coming here, and now finding out about this, it's just crazy.
Of course. I'm very sad. Have you done, I got two questions. One is, you said you did calculations and things. Have you sort of figured out where you were? I guess you were outside the United States when this happened. Is that fair to say?
I was, but based on how I've checked it, I would have visited a few months before this person would have given birth.
And then here's another question. Have you okay, so where I live in Missouri, and you don't have to say what state you live in, but where I live in Missouri, we have a really, really good electronic case system. And what I'm wondering is, does your state have a good case system? Like, could you pretend that you're an immigration officer and just get on the web and see if you could find, like, if you ran your husband's unusual name, would this case pop up?
Mm-hmm.
Have you done that?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so I would do that, or I would go down to the courthouse and I'd read the whole court file if you can emotionally put up with that,
I actually took pictures of all the documents before I closed back the thing, so I have them.
That's interesting. What documents were in there? Was there like a judgment, or like, is he behind on child support, or has he ever paid child support? Like, what did you discover in the?
Well, it just says that you're being sued. It just pretty much says you're being sued, and there's it lists the person's name, the person's address, a birth certificate for the child, and yeah.
Had you ever heard of the person?
Never, Jim.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. What if you were a U.S. citizen right now? What would you do? And then, what are you thinking immigration-wise, given the fact that you're not a U.S. citizen? Or is that what you wanted to talk to me about?
I just wanted to know, like, what are the implications for my case for something like this?
Right. Well, I mean, right now you don't have anything immigration-wise. If he withdraws the I-1, I mean, first of all, we have a problem because now we have to amend the application and list the if this case is going to move forward, we have to notify USCIS that there was this kid, because it impacts their analysis of whether your relationship is legit.
Okay.
So we don't want to get in trouble for misleading people, because the thing is, this is why I asked, if you live in a state where it's relatively easy to run a U.S. citizen's name, especially one with an unusual name, through the system to see if they have any court cases. And then, I mean, if I'm an immigration officer and I run your husband's name and I see, like, let's say this is a half hour before your interview, if I see in there, he didn't list any other kids, but then I run a search on, his name, and it comes back that he's being sued by a mother of a child that was born during the time of your relationship, I mean, I'd be holding that back, and I would separate the two of you, and I would beat up both of you about it to see, how you respond. But I would think it'd go very, very badly, because he might be able to try to play it off to you, but when he's in there, he's under oath, right? So from an immigration standpoint, if you hadn't found this could have really been bad.
Okay.
And you sort of have the two issues. One is that he had a kid while he was in a long-term relationship with you, and the other one is that he didn't tell you about it. And of course, as of right now, he still hasn't.
Right.
So from an immigration standpoint, I think this case is going to be tough to get approved. Not impossible, but tough. And I think the only way it gets approved is if everybody is completely honest. And that's why I was asking, is that something you even want to do? Like, do you want to keep going with this relationship?
I can't even give you an answer to that question right now because, as I said, my emotions is all over the place, and
Yeah, I understand.
I'm just very numb right now. I'm just trying to like figure things out and how do I proceed and everything.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, you said your case is 3 months old. I assume that given the fact that you've been together for 8 years, that you have a lot of evidence that the relationship is real. And you just have to the thing you have to understand is you might get an interview notice next week, or you might get an interview notice in 7 months. And so what you can't do is just go there and pretend everything's okay and pretend that this kid doesn't exist. That's only going to end badly. So at some point soon, you're going to have to confront this and either ask him to withdraw the I-130 and move on with your life, or you're going to have to definitely hire a lawyer and try to demonstrate that this is a real marriage, even though he cheated on you.
So I would have to get a lawyer and have them have him withdraw the I-130, get a lawyer, and have that lawyer resubmit a I-130.
No. That's not what I was saying. Either you don't need a lawyer to withdraw the I-130. He, your husband. If you guys decide to split up, you should withdraw your 45, and your husband should withdraw the I-130. If you decide to proceed, though, what I'm saying is you don't want to go to that interview. The two of you don't want to go to that interview. You don't want to go to that interview without a lawyer, because you're going to be subject to some like if you came to me and you said, Jimmy, we want you to be our lawyer, I would beat the crap out of him as the lawyer to try to get him ready to see how he stands up to questioning, because he's gonna have to confess this and explain it, and he's going to have to establish that he really does love you, and that so there's a lot of emotional stuff. The immigration stuff can be on the back burner for a while until you get that interview notice, right?
Right.
But that's going to push the issue. When did you last enter the United States?
October of last year.
So you entered in October and you filed for adjustment in like March or February?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I would say, I would go maybe to a therapist, try to talk this through, try to get to terms with your emotion, maybe talk to your mom or your other support system. If you want to talk to me about this off camera too, I'd be happy to talk to you about that.
Thank you so much, Jim. Really appreciate it.
As you move forward. Yeah. It's a tough situation. I feel bad for you. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the call.
Hey.
You too. Bye-bye. All right. Let's go to K1. Hello.
Hello, Jim. How are you doing?
Great. How are you doing?
Thank you. A long-time watcher, first-time caller.
Oh, that's the best. Ding, ding, ding. Love it.
Let me give you a brief summary of my timeline with my case. And I met with my wife in 2022, and we applied for K1. And then I came here with the K1 on 2024 June last year, 1 year ago, and we applied for. I had started to work without EAD 1 week before we got married. And we got married in 90 days. And then after my I-94 was expired after 50 days after. We applied for adjustment of status only with I-485. And we got an interview almost 2 weeks ago. And the officer told us that, guys, I believe your marriage is, first of all, your marriage is bona fide. I believe that part. And then he just asked one question. He said, how did you meet? And I explained it. And then at the end of the interview, he told me that I overstayed my visa. And because I applied 50 days after I-94 has expired. I tried to explain him that like there was no certain timeline for adjustment of status for K1 applicants. And he told me that, I don't know, I should talk to my supervisor. Maybe you might need a waiver. And we went there with our attorney, and she didn't say anything. And we are waiting for the result now. And I just want to ask, like, and then after, we got an email from our attorney saying that it was about the overstay crackdown after this attack. You know, there was an attack made by a guy who was overstayed his visa. And I just want to understand, is there any legal basis that for them to ask?
Nope. You don't need a waiver. He can fuck off. What field office was it?
Do I need to tell you?
I think it's helpful if you tell him. Is it Colorado?
No, it's Newark, New Jersey.
It's probably just a new officer who doesn't know things.
So we are in a good place, right? Like we have nothing to worry about because
They
my
might
wife.
They might just sit on it. What country are you from?
Turkey.
Yeah. No, I think they might sit on it for a while because they don't know what's up. But legally, you're right. Legally, you and your attorney are right. It's better to file it before you go out of status, but that's not a basis to deny it.
Mm-hmm. So I have another question. There is a bill is about to be presented to, it was about people who overstayed their visas. They try to make it criminalized, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If we wait until a law came up and says, okay, all the overstay people, if they criminalize overstay, would it be affect my case? Affecting my case.
So you're asking the right person for this. So when I was in law school, I did my law journal article on this thing called, there's a thing in the Constitution says that Congress shall pass no ex post facto law. You might look that up if this is going to make you feel better. Number one, you don't need to worry about this. Okay. Really, you don't. But if you don't trust me and you want to go deep diving, look up this thing called X. So it's EX and then ex post, POST. And then the third word is facto, like fact, FACTO, ex post facto. And what that is Congress can't criminalize behavior after it occurred. In other words, you are to be judged based on the law as it existed at the time of the conduct. So really, you don't need to worry about this.
Okay, but what if they put our case on hold maybe for 2 months or 3 months? What we should do next?
Then you should call me back and we should sue them.
Okay. So, would it be better to send a memo or something like that, saying that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would have said. When you and your lawyer got home, you should have said to your lawyer, "Hey, lawyer, send her a memo." It doesn't have to be very long. To say, "Dear Officer Smith, you are a dipshit. I do not need a waiver. My client does not need a waiver. Here's why," and then cite the law.
Right after the interview, right?
Yeah, I mean, now it's fine too. Just do it.
Okay.
Have them do it.
Okay. Okay, so because I watched a couple of videos of you, and you were telling that it's better to not send anything before you.
No, I mean, if I think an officer, especially a new officer, is confused, or if they say something that, like, I just had one. It might have been that one in San Bernardino Robert was asking about, but I had one. Yeah, it was. I had one recently where the officer is just wrong on the law, and so you send them a letter with the law so they know, number one, you're a lawyer, number two, you know what you're talking about, number three, that they're wrong. And I think that's different than what I'm talking about. Are letters where, like, people think they have to explain shit or talk about their testimony or stuff. That's not helpful.
Mm-hmm. I see. What if they send us a request for evidence, request for a waiver? What if they send a waiver request?
I don't know. I would raise hell if they sent you a waiver. I'd fight back. I'd say, we don't need a waiver. You guys are idiots.
Mm-hmm. So we will not respond with a waiver, right? We're gonna say, like, there is no need to a waiver.
Yep.
Okay.
Read the INA. All right. Thanks, K1.
Thank
See you,
you.
buddy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna go to Dan, and then we'll go from there. All right. Dan, hello.
Hi, Jim.
How you doing?
Very good, sir. How about yourself?
Great.
All right. So I called in a while back. I told you I was on asylum and I have a removing proceeding order. So I have a removing proceeding. So I haven't gone in for I don't know if the normal hearing for the removing proceeding, but I did apply for EB2 NIW.
Great.
And I got a.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's start all the way back at the beginning. When did you first come to the United States?
That was in 2015.
And what kind of a visa did you have?
Visiting visa.
Okay, so that's for 6 months. Did you leave after 6 months?
No, I didn't.
Did you file anything during those 6 months?
Yeah, I believe I submitted my asylum. No, not within that 6 months. No, I didn't.
So you applied for asylum at a time when you were out of status?
After the 6 months, but my visa was still valid.
Yeah, but you were beyond the 6 month authorized stay. You were out of status at the time you applied for asylum.
Yes.
Okay. And then did you have an interview on your asylum case?
Yes. Yes, I did.
And it got referred to the immigration court?
Yes.
When did that happen? When did your immigration court start?
Oh, I think that was in 2021.
2021?
Yeah.
Okay. And so when is your next court date?
Next year.
Okay. And that's a master, or it's an individual next year?
Individual.
So that's your trial as to whether or not you get to stay.
Yes.
Okay. And so then what was your question? So you said you filed an EB3?
Yeah, I filed NIW EB2 and got approved for that.
Yeah, but you can't adjust. You're out of status.
No, I have my work authorization and social. So
No, you're out of status. You can't adjust on NIW because you filed your asylum case for two reasons. Number one, you filed your asylum case more than 6 months after you entered. And number two, you've been referred to the immigration court. So filing for asylum does not bridge the gap between your first 6 month stay and now when you apply for a national interest waiver green card.
So what would be the best advice or the best step to take?
I think the only thing you got is your asylum case.
Okay, so you want me to still go ahead? I was thinking of maybe applying for extension for the hearing, move it to a different date. So,
why?
So I could, since I already got approved for the NIW, so I was thinking
you can't adjust.
Oh, okay. So you just want me to go ahead with the asylum?
I don't want you to do anything. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm saying the only thing, it sounds to me the only thing you have going is your asylum case.
Oh, okay. But what if I did because I'm really a little bit confused with the dates. Not sure about the exact date, but what if I applied within that 6-month frame.
Okay, so you have to understand something. Unless you obtain a green card based on marriage to a U.S. citizen, or the father of a U.S. citizen, or the underage child of a U.S. citizen, you have to be in status at the time you file for adjustment. So yes, if you applied for asylum within the 6 months and your case remains pending, then you could argue, although they don't always believe you, and this is in fact the issue I was arguing out in San Bernardino a couple of months ago, you can argue that that's valid status for purposes of adjustment. But they don't always believe it. But there's two ways where that will not work. One is if you file more than 6 months, which it sounds like you have that problem. And number two, and more importantly, is it doesn't work if the asylum office has referred you to the immigration court. Then you can't take advantage of that bridge of the asylum case.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks,
Yeah.
man. See you, buddy.
All right. Thank you, Jim.
All right. That'll do it for today's show. Might do a show tomorrow, might do a show on Sunday. So stay tuned. Remember, as we explained at the beginning of the show, the best way to find out if we're doing a show or when our next show is, and to get in the waiting room to ask me a question, text the word show to 314-470-3300 and get the link in advance. And I would say that people start logging in as soon as we send that text. And sometimes we send it a few hours ahead of time. So if you want to get on and ask me a question for free, that's the best way to do it. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. And if I don't talk to you, we'll see you Monday. But otherwise, peace out.
I'm great about that, other than trying to help people who are in the state of the